Hi guys, it's Michelle. Today I want to just talk to you really quickly about osteoporosis and bone loss, excuse me. Osteoporosis affects women much more so than men. There's a couple of different reasons for that. The primary reason is the loss of estrogen, which actually helps the body in maintaining its bone strength. So women are more susceptible to it, but men can also develop osteoporosis. There are ways to help prevent that and slow that down. Usually you think of osteoporosis as affecting people that are older. To me, old used to mean like 50s and 60s, but as I'm getting closer to that age range, I'm realizing that old means 70s and 80s also. But the bone loss actually starts occurring when you're much younger. Around the mid-30s or so, your bone actually starts getting a little bit weaker and starts breaking down. So it's really important that you start a calcium supplement earlier than what you may have normally thought you should start it at. So calcium supplements you can get anywhere in the pharmacy, grocery store, whatever it is. The tablets or capsules or whatever it is that you take. What you're looking for with calcium is to get about 1,000 milligrams if you're premenopausal and about 1,500 milligrams if you're postmenopausal or menopausal. So just some guidelines to keep in mind. The other important thing to think about with calcium is that your body actually cannot absorb more than 500 milligrams of calcium at any one time. So if you're thinking of just taking 1,000 milligrams all at once in the morning, you can go ahead and do that, but you're wasting half of that dose because your body just doesn't have the ability to absorb more. So make sure you break it up throughout the day so that you don't take more than 500 milligrams at any one time. The other thing to consider is the salt form of your calcium. Most of you probably don't even think about this when you look for a calcium supplement. Most people I know, when I tell them to take a calcium supplement, think of taking Tums, calcium carbonate, just because it's pretty inexpensive to take, and it tastes good if you get the chewable fruit chews. So that's what people usually go after. Unfortunately, calcium carbonate is not well absorbed by the body, so you actually end up having to take more of it to get the equivalent amount of calcium into your system. What I usually recommend is people take calcium citrate. It's available in the U.S. under the brand name of Citracal. So this is the salt form you're looking for, and you will actually not need to take quite as much as you would if you're just taking calcium carbonate, which is what most of the calcium supplements are. So just something to think about. The other thing I want to mention is with calcium is to help increase the absorption is you want to take it with a vitamin D. So a lot of the calcium supplements out there already contain vitamin D, and for osteoporosis what you're looking for is about 800 international units of vitamin D per day. So different brands of calcium supplements with vitamin D will have varying amounts of that particular component, so you'll just need to read the labels and see how much is in there. But you're really going for about 800 international units of vitamin D. Now these days in medicine, I know a lot of physicians are recognizing that vitamin D deficiency is much more prevalent than they once thought, and it's really a source for a lot of different issues, weight increases, Alzheimer's, cardiovascular issues. So you may already be taking another vitamin D supplement based on the recommendation of your physician. And if you're already doing that, you do not need to take an additional amount of vitamin D. Vitamin D is one of those vitamins that you need to be careful of because it's a fat-soluble vitamin. It stays in your body, in your system, much longer than some of the other vitamins out there, like vitamin C or vitamin E, Vitamin C is usually a common one that's easily excreted out of your system. But the vitamin D, you need to be a little bit more careful about how much you're taking. So if you're taking more than 1,000 international units a day of vitamin D, make sure you're under the advisement of your physician so he or she can monitor that. The other thing that I ran into recently is the use of vitamin K with calcium and vitamin D. And I never heard or read about this before, but it made a lot of sense to me. The vitamin K is necessary when you take your calcium and vitamin D so that the calcium does not end up sticking to your blood vessel walls and forming plaques. So you usually hear of plaques forming in the blood vessel walls and the narrowing of the blood vessels when you think of heart disease and heart attacks and high cholesterol and things of that nature, which can happen, and it's basically calcium buildup in your blood vessels. So by taking some vitamin K along with your calcium and vitamin D, you can help prevent that. The big caution, though, with vitamin K is that if you are on some kind of blood thinner like Coumadin or warfarin, it's contraindicated. It can be working against you. So I would advise you to seek out the opinion and supervision of your physician before you start any kind of supplement with vitamin K. It's actually not something that you can easily find in most supermarkets or drugstores, but it is available out there as a supplement. What I would recommend instead is that you do the supplementation a little bit more naturally and just increase your green leafy vegetables and get your vitamin K from natural sources as opposed to just taking a supplement. The last thing I want to talk to you about in terms of osteoporosis is the use of strength training or weight training. Weight-bearing exercises are really critical for maintaining bone strength. Just standing is considered to be weight-bearing. Walking is always good to keep those bones nice and strong. But the bones that you're keeping nice and strong are the ones bearing weight, which are, your hips and the bones in your legs and feet, which is great because that's where most of the fractures occurs, usually in your hip or in your thigh and your femur. However, other bones can fracture also, your arms, anywhere in your arms or your collarbone. So you want to also incorporate some strength training, pick up some weights. There's lots of resources that you can look at for simple strength training exercises. You can even use your own body weight to help increase the bone strength. So those are just a couple of things that I want you to be aware of, to think about. Osteoporosis, bone thinning, occurs in men and women. Take your calcium and vitamin D. Increase your natural sources of vitamin K through your green leafy vegetables. And you should be doing a pretty good job at preventing any of those fractures that may occur from thinning bones. I hope that helps you. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.